people in,
Cool.
since there's very few showing up today at
I didn't
the
think there was
last
gonna be
day of the
too
year.
many. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was gonna say I didn't think there was gonna be like, but maybe like one or two, honestly.
well, we got two. We got two.
Nice. Yeah, I
By the
mean,
way,
I
can you
think
guys
everybody
hear
I've
that?
talked
No,
to. God,
can you hear that noise in the background?
mm-mm,
Okay, good.
nope.
Hello, Jason. Hello, Ryan. I want to thank you
Well,
all for joining us today.
the shortest office hours ever. Like basically, like, got anything? Nope. You got
Yep.
anything? Nope. Call it a day.
We have one or two things to talk about.
Okay, I'll
Uh,
let you talk then.
so it's funny you mentioned that, Benjamin. Yeah, it's we're sort of planning our big summer trip, and we're going
Mm.
to probably go back to Montenegro, which is surprisingly this weird little country over that nobody's ever heard of, that is an absolute delight to visit, and see how much trouble we can get into over there next summer. So if you're going to take a trip across the United States, I think it's
Mhm.
amazeballs. So that's really cool. Definitely give me a shout and let me know when you're going to be in my neighborhood.
Yeah, we'll do. I've never been to San Francisco or anywhere around California. I got California in general, so I'm going
Ah,
to. I figured
oh yeah.
do it the old-fashioned way and hop on a train and spend. I think it says like 4 days on the train to get there,
Yeah.
but like
And you'll come
that's
from Reno right through the passes. You're going to go through a ton of tunnels and see a bunch of stuff for going past
yeah.
Tahoe and all that. It's really pretty through there. Colorado as well. I mean, I've been along the corridor. I don't remember exactly where the train runs, but yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad for you. Logan, any big plans for travel in this upcoming year?
Oh,
You off
Logan's gonna
guard?
spend his money on getting a new headset.
It's
Well, let's
okay,
do
Logan.
business stuff, Anthony. What you got
All
for me,
righty.
buddy?
Well, I just wanted to throw this out there. I'm going to share my screen real quick.
Ooh, fancy. This doesn't
Yeah,
have to
I
be
know. I
open.
almost never do that.
I know. Like, what are we?
All right. Are we all seeing all
This
those
is
beta apps?
this is Anthony's world now.
Just as a quick reminder, we've got a couple of new things coming out, like SentinelOne just entered beta. Um, Duo and Okta are just about wrapping up. Hoodoo's still neck deep, and Ignite we've had some good results on. Their API is fairly robust, and I've got to be honest, I don't know anything about CloudTrail, but this is what you can expect to come out of beta in Q1. So if anybody on this call, that means you, Ryan, or that means you, Jason. There's only two people here. Um,
Awesome.
if there's any line of business apps that you guys have interest in talking about, let us know, because these are not all that are in the pipeline, but these are the ones that are definitely coming out of beta. And if you'd like to a chance to be exposed to any of these and take them for a test drive, just absolutely reach out to your account manager or reach out to us. We'll make it happen. I don't think I'm sharing anymore. Nicholas. Um, I don't think I'm sharing anymore. Ben, if you can confirm that.
You are confirmed.
Thank you, sir. So yeah, so just keep in mind that the platform continues to evolve. And hello, Nicholas. There are very few of us today, so I'm going to call out every single person by name. Um, so yeah, the platform continues to evolve, and we've got a whole bunch of stuff coming in. Now that's a smile, Nicholas. There you are. He puts on his headphones and then he smiles. Um, Ben, yeah, I don't really have a lot else to talk about wrapping up the year. What have you got on deck, my friend?
Yeah, I got something on deck. I think we're going to talk about this during the Sassy call, so you guys get a
Oh, we
sneak
get the head
preview.
start, the inside track here.
Yeah. I don't know if it's kind of making its round on LinkedIn, but this article that I will happily put into our chat, one of the guys on Aaron brought up to me, and also one of the guys on Discord as well. And I don't know why I can't find the chat. It's around here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Frickin' Zoom. Okay, it's better than Teams.
I love it. It is. Thank you, Ben.
There you go. So basically what this guy did, and this is relatively new. This is this year, this month. Basically he found a way to bypass the conditional access policy like compliant devices. So if you're ever
Mm,
using that whole, and we tested it with like logically
mhm.
and with Buddy over there. And we set it up and it was very effective. Like I could get into an account, but once I was in there, I couldn't really do anything. I couldn't go to email without being compliant. I couldn't go to OneDrive, any of the other stuff. And the important things would have data. It would come up and say like, they give us this message. You can't get that from here. Which I love. I love that, by the way. It's freaking classic. It's completely nerdy. It takes me back to the text games.
Wow.
Um, but this whole article describes kind of his journey, and the end result is a program called uh, Tokensmith
Mr.
and
Smith.
Mr. Anderson. Um, yeah, so he has completely automated it for you, and allowed you to be able to, if you do have the username, password, MFA, whatever, but are being blocked by you're not a compliant device, this does circumvent it. And there is currently no fix for it, and it is also being found to be in the wild. People are actually using
Right.
this tool. Threat actors, not necessarily good guys, maybe good guys too. Um, he is
And
also giving us. Oh, go ahead, Anthony.
no, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
I was going to say that he has given us some tips on how to detect it and defend
That's my
against
question.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a great way to defend against it. Honestly, he even admits that the things that you would have to do to protect yourself are not exactly convenient. But I think from basically from what I've read, and the article's kind of all over the place, but basically from what I've read, the way that they're getting in is through the Intune device. Is it called? There's a specific word for it. Basically, where do you go to sign up? Enrollment portal. That's what it is.
Mhm.
And he'd say, hey, you could instead of you could put MFA behind that portal. But then again, token theft's the thing. So he even
Good.
mentioned that if Evil Gen X or one of the other programs that do token theft start adopting some of the code in here, that
Right.
it's going to make it extremely easy for them to bypass the uh, compliant devices. So
So that's depending exclusively on Microsoft for compliance and device management.
yeah, yeah,
So
exactly. There's
help me
you.
understand. Go
Mhm.
ahead.
I was gonna say, if you're gonna ask, help me understand what are you trying to find out how people are using this conditional access policy, or
Or how would that look if if I have an RMM tool and I'm managing my devices there? And do I get any telemetry in the RMM that I might be able to tie back to the SaaS action? Like thinking, how would Unify help me identify this as a non-standard device, or could it?
I don't think that it could now. It
Hmm.
would when we release the Entra integration, that may help a lot because we would see activity from devices that are both not in your RMM and not in an Entra.
Would
So
impossible travel with credentials across two pieces of hardware?
yeah, and he said he's basically telling you the big thing you need to look out for is um, the sign-in logs. Look for this application usage, which if you are using Intune, you're probably going to see this because this is the ID for the Intune enrollment portal. So I did a kind of a search across our entire database, over 4 million accounts, and I did see activity on this, but it's not activity that I could say is definitely malicious. It could just be someone enrolling their device in Intune. So,
Excellent.
but
Excellent.
if you are using this policy and you are not using the Intune um, portal or nobody knows how to, keeping an eye out for this application would be good. I think it shows up in description details, if I am
Hmm.
not mistaken. So it's either that. I think it's that. I'm pretty sure. I would have to make sure. Oh, we have another person waiting.
Yep.
But this is something new and it is actively being exploited.
It's we'll look for a ramp up in the coming new year. Then we'll have to keep an eye
Yeah,
out for that.
yeah, because I mean that it's a great policy. I mean, and I'm not discouraging people from using it because it's very effective, especially against token theft. Like we tried it with Evil Gen X, and I stole Buddy's token, and then I signed in. I was like, hey, I'm cool, I'm in, whatever. And then as soon as I started going anywhere, it was like, boom, this message. So, you know, defense in depth and on all that stuff.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. Well, every time that we dig a moat, they figure out a way to make a new bridge across it. So
Well,
we'll have to
yeah.
figure out how to get telemetry on that bridge construction.
Yeah,
Thank you for
exactly.
that, Ben.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's that, and that's really the point of all this is like there's no silver bullet that fixes everything, and to rely on one technology, even if it's just Microsoft's, to protect you is not a good idea.
100%. Who watches the watchers? We need
Oh
to be
yeah.
always cognizant of that. That's fantastic. Does
Mhm.
anybody have any questions about Mr. Smith?
Or Mr. Anderson.
We're not talking about the heroes. We're talking about the villains here.
I know. So I think they're going to cover this a little bit. Oh, hey, Aaron. I think they're going to cover this a little bit on the Sassy call too. I told
Excellent.
Andrew about it, and it's really just making you aware of it. I'll see if there's a rule or something I can set up
Mhm.
to kind of at least help you detect when this happens. I don't know if there is or not. I'll have to see. Depends on if it puts it in
Excellent.
description details. I know I can find it in the database, but that doesn't help you.
Yeah, if it's what the experience that us developing types have is not exactly what the end user of our partners have. So we got to figure out how to make sure they have visibility of that.
Yeah, exactly,
Well,
exactly. And if it's something that we're not giving visibility on, then that's something that we also need to evaluate to say, hey, we're not doing this and we should be.
and we'll turn the dev team loose and see if Microsoft presents it at all. If that's actually something that there's any meat on that bone.
Yeah,
Fantastic exploration. Thank you, Ben.
certainly.
A couple more folks have popped in. If you didn't catch all that at the top, there's a new exploit of an exploit that we're starting to see some minor traction on. And I would suspect if it's going to get baked into some of those script kiddie tools, we'll see a lot more of it soon. So review this recording in its entirety if you just joined us.
Oh yeah. And there's already a proof of
Anybody?
concept.
Right on.
You can
Thank
run
you.
it today. Good times.
Oh, but I don't want to beta test my hacking tools. I want you to beta test my hacking tools. Deliver me a finished product. Come on, Ben. What am
I
I
know,
paying for
right?
here?
I know. That's crazy talk.
Uh, on the platform, does anybody have any questions about, we've changed quite a bit this year. Leron was kind enough to put together a list of all the things the dev team has done, and it's a telephone book if anybody knows what that is anymore. It's a dictionary. It's a ton of data. We've had a lot of deltas this year. So if anybody has any questions on anything about how our evolution has gotten us here or where we're going in the new year, be happy to chat about that. Or any questions about how we can better leverage the platform.
Good morning. I'll take the
Jason,
question here.
hit
Mhm.
me.
Hey, Jason.
Yeah, I've got a couple questions. The first question is, as I've started to use the platform more, I'm a new partner.
Sure.
I was wondering, is there any way to extend the timeout of when I find I get logged out rather quickly?
Yes, Jason. By the way, anybody who hasn't met Jason, he is new to the platform, not a new MSP. He and his team grilled me thoroughly in an onboarding session and some follow-up emails as well, which we love. We love it when people challenge us and challenge the platform to be better. And we've heard this challenge more than once, Jason. Hey, why is there a 15-minute stupid timeout on the stupid managed platform? Why is there a 30-minute timeout on or a 20-minute on the reporting platform? That's ASVS level 3. That's OWASP compliance is what we're doing there. And anybody who hasn't tripped across that, it's an audit of the code itself and how it's delivered. So basically, someone's trying to make sure that it is as secure as it possibly can be. There's three levels to it. The most egregious is a level 3. So imagine having to go through a SOC 2.2 on steroids, but just for the lines of code. That's what's happening right now. And part of their ways of keeping software safe in general is if you certify to this, then there are absolutely hard-coded timeouts that the end users, that's you, cannot change. So Jason, that's the background. That's how we got here. That's why it's in place. It's for your security, or whatever the marketing you want
I
to
see.
use, but it cannot be changed.
Okay.
There is plugins you can get for your browser that will refresh the
Yeah,
page too,
I've
by
seen
the
those.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a couple partners because they like to use some of our stuff like as dashboards.
Mhm.
And that's
Yeah, for our folks that have a true SOC or a brick and mortar, the landing page, and if you blow out the map, it updates, every hour on the hour or whatever it is. And I've seen guys use that as, decorations in the lobby, have a monitor going, just showing that thread activity. So it can be done. It's
Yeah.
just not pretty. It's kludgy. And at the end of the day, it does leave, raise your hand if you've ever left your laptop or your device turned on and walked away, and somebody at a trade show has come and changed your screensaver or something. It's like it's a terrible idea to leave things unmonitored like that. Anyways, Jason, you guys have been digging deep. I know I owe you a reply email that I started to write yesterday and never got through. Any other questions top of mind?
Well, if no one else has any, I've got more.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm starting to use, and I want to most effectively use the unified portion of the platform which, if I understand correctly, is going to map the device to the user, and that's going to help to so if, for example, someone's traveling to Europe and they have their device and they're logging in with their account, it doesn't give you these extra notifications, right?
Mhm.
Things like that. But um, I've noticed at first on the first run that it only was able to successfully map uh, maybe half or two-thirds
Sure.
of the devices. And so I thought, well, maybe I should turn on the Entra ID feature, and I did that. I didn't really see much of a change then, but so I'm not so clear as to what Entra ID does or how it helps. The first question. The second question is, uh, do we, how much time do we want to invest in mapping all those devices that didn't get mapped?
Well, I can give you the onboarding answer. Then I'd love to hear Ben's answer from actually boots on the ground. By the way, anybody who doesn't know, my name's Anthony. I'm part of implementation and onboarding. Ben Jones is a senior engineer from a large MSP who came over to the dark side for our cookies and to help us build this software. So he is sat in your chairs from tier 1 all the way up to making the business move forward. And he has very much an understanding of what you guys have got going on. We're also joined by one of our sales guys, Daniel, and one of our senior engineers, our sales engineers, Logan Guzman. So we kind of cover the gamut here. And the base idea, Jason, is you're correct. We're going to collect that telemetry from your data or whichever RMM your tool you're using, and enrich the tickets so you have an understanding of when Nicholas logged in, what hardware was he actually touching? And we're going to verify that independently from what Microsoft told us and what data or your RMM tells us. Great. Now that I understand that, I can begin to, after I see somebody log in 10 times, delete files 100 times, OAuth into other apps 100 times, all the different things where I'm catching this telemetry from both RMM and the SaaS application, I begin to build an understanding of the relationship of that account and that piece of hardware. So enriching that telemetry and then doing the automatic mapping once it reaches a threshold that we set, usually around 65 or 85%. Then when an engineer, junior tech, gets a ticket, comes in that says, hey, Jason just logged in from Uzbekistan. Well, that's scary, but hold it. He was on a managed device. That's a lot less scary. So that's going to help for analysis time. It's actually going to save you some labor dollars and help you have a better understanding of what people are doing with their hardware. And that takes some time. So if I only log on once a day and open up three, Google Docs, and the rest of the time I'm already logged into Zoom and doing meetings like this, that's not a lot of activity for my account. So it might take days or weeks for our systems in the back end to understand Anthony at and laptop 123. Now, there are going to be other people that are much more active with opening files, OAuthing, and all this stuff we do with our accounts. And that telemetry might get an accurate mapping in hours or days. So it's kind of it's a soft answer of how long will this take? How long should we wait? Now we can add in the complexity of the Microsoft Entra device ID. Um, we weight that pretty heavily in our calculations because it is such a very unique identifier and unexploited for any other reasons except for Microsoft purposes so far as we can see today. And every time that Jason, you log into a device, first time you logged into a server with Jason at, you got a unique device ID that matches your account on that hardware. Somebody else logs into that same server, different device ID. So it's very unique. It's absolutely trackable. And it's something that we, again, in our calculations to map hardware to account, we lean on pretty heavily. So once you connected it, it doesn't mean the world changes massively. But once you've told your RMM to run that script every 24 hours, once a month, whatever it is, and pull that stuff independently, we are going to begin to map things faster. There's no question about it. Even if I have somebody that doesn't have a lot of activity, because the equations, the machine learning lean heavily on that, you're going to see that automatic mapping happen sooner. Now, so sort of your last part of your question, should I do this manually? I don't know. It sounds like work. You absolutely can. And there have been folks that are like, you know what, I want every review, and it is good for that. You're going to review every piece of hardware that you've got and make sure it's either mapped or not mapped and make some decisions. And then if you don't, just walk away and if the settings are set fairly high, 75, 85%, in a few days or a couple of weeks, you're going to start to get that enrichment happening automatically without throwing any labor at it. So that's also a bit of a soft answer. How much instant happiness do you want? Do you want your instant gratification now or do you want it next week? Now, looking forward on all of that, what do I do with all this data? Well, we even have a report that sort of leverages a distillation of that. Hey, Mr. Small Business Owner, it's time for our quarterly. Did you know I'm supporting 142 devices and we're contracted to support 40 human beings? That might be a very different financial discussion the next time we recontract. Or it might be a great way to start that conversation about how much of your company data do you want on a bunch of random devices that I have no visibility of, I have no control over. I can't protect you if I can't see something. So maybe we start the discussion, or at least the concept of only putting company data on managed devices. There's a lot of different ways we can leverage that very deep technical data. Ben, did I miss anything in that talk track? Is there any part of that you would have addressed differently?
Yeah, just a few things.
Yeah, lots of it.
So for managed SaaS, which is what I had up, the thing that we kind of decided a while ago is that we wanted to concentrate more on not so much if Bob's using Sue's computer, but if Bob's using a computer that we don't recognize at all, it's not in our RMM anywhere. We kind of went on the assumption if it's in our RMM, then it's a device that we manage and we trust to some extent. Not everybody sees that the same way as we do, but if you do agree with me, then one of the things that you can do is with respond, if you're looking for those outside approved locations, only specify that it's an unknown device and it's unmanaged. You can also throw in the mobile factor to say, hey, we really don't support mobile devices right now, so I'm going to ignore if that unknown and unmanaged device is a mobile. So something like this would trigger if it's outside and it's from a strange device you've never seen before. You can extend this farther, and we do with some of our rules to say maybe I also want to know if it's a device that's inside our approved location, but still unknown. With that, it's very easy to make that adjustment. Really, you could either make a new rule or you could add these other different authentication successful events, which are like OAuth, you got successful authentication, and then you have the shell event. Either of one of these, all these three will show up at some point in time in your log. OAuth is if they're moving from one part of M365 to another, then you'll get a lot of OAuth with inside of Microsoft. Then you have your successful authentication, which is typically them coming in, and then shell. Sometimes that'll even pop up with like Outlook. But this is what we use. You can also add other flavor to this as well. You can say if you're getting this a lot, then you can add, okay, well, maybe I only care if it's coming from a VPN, or I personally like to use anonymous because anonymous covers the VPN proxy, and I think there's another one that's on there too.
Is it fine? Tor?
Tor, maybe. Yeah, maybe a Tor. Same thing with threat. If threat is true, like people sometimes see threat, and they're like, but like I see rules that are created with known abuser, known attacker, and a threat. Oh, actually, if you just do threat, that covers both attacker or abuser or both. So it's another way to make your rule a little bit more functional. Does that kind of answer your question, Jason, as far as some of your woes? Because
Yeah, so now that I understand that when I add a client, it may take a few days or a few weeks to auto map. I don't have to do that right away and spend the time doing that work. I can just let it let it think for a bit.
yeah,
I would agree.
you set up your automation here, and the only time that I usually run into someone saying I don't see devices in there, assuming it's not a bug with our system, is usually if the organization is not mapped underneath the RMM settings for that particular org. Like I think I have one here. All right, so I'll throw a ninja on there.
You may have not seen it on the screen, but in the bottom right, there's an orange edit button. I think that's a little off screen for us here who are seeing that. But yeah,
Okay.
that's how Ben launched this window here.
Yeah, if you can't see, it's right down here at the very bottom right. Um, and yeah, and once it goes past this, it'll usually list your organizations, and sometimes there'll be a bunch of customers in here that maybe don't have a match over there. Our system will attempt to do it automatically, but that match has to be even like down to the case of the word. It has to be exactly the same. Our system doesn't guess. It doesn't make assumptions. It says it's either a 100% match or it's not at all. So sometimes I'll see that, so there'll be just a little bit of a different spelling or something. But if they're not all under map, then they won't show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something to be cognizant of is if you're onboarding a new client, copy and paste out of your PSA into your RMM, into ID Glue, into here to make sure it's the same naming convention. Then we're going to attempt to automatically do a bunch of things in the background to match that up. But if it's slightly different spelling or missing a period, an LTD or something, then yeah, then you're going to have some manual stuff to do. So it's just good practice.
Yeah. In our onboarding procedure, I've decided to add a step, and that is to check that auto mapping has been completed
Nice.
correctly, right? On
Yeah.
top of the 3 different modules for 365 or whatever else you're using.
And depending on your PSA, sometimes you can import the companies in there from that. If you decide to do that, just keep in mind that it doesn't create a whitelist for you automatically. So you'll have a bunch of companies in here with no whitelist, and no whitelist means everything's outside. So that's a fun one to run into sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll notice that very quickly. Yeah.
You will. Yeah, you'll tend to get a couple of more alerts.
Yeah, so going back to the idea I like the idea you mentioned of being able to, and if I'm not mistaken, see all devices that users have logged into, even if they're not in our RMM,
Mhm.
to kind of have that conversation with the customer.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there a way to see devices that are authorized and unauthorized in the organization tab itself, or how would you recommend
I
going
believe
through?
that's only in the reports module, Ben. Is that correct?
You are correct.
Okay.
This is the right
I
one.
mean, I'm sure there's a way to pull it out of the analysis module. It just wouldn't be formatted and pretty. That's whereas over here on this side of the house, we tried to make it a simple pie chart. Hey, Enrique's throwing a plate. Try to make it a simple pie chart just so that you can communicate it effectively. And there you
Yeah,
are, map
and it
devices.
also lists it down
Yeah,
here too.
exactly.
But yeah, and as whenever we release the Entra integration, this will be a lot more, I think, valuable too, because we'll be able to pick up a lot more than just whatever your RMM's picking up, and eventually mobile devices as well. So Unify is a good thing to get into. I mean, even if you're not running a supported RMM, we should have that Entra one out soon. Don't know
I think
when,
we
but
expect that in January. I know, but Adams wanted to have that a lot sooner, and we just didn't quite make it before the end of the year.
definitely pretty cool.
Yeah. So, Jason, I would say definitely once you've got a sort of a groundswell and you've got your clients on board and monitoring not only the Entra ID, but all of your RMM data for a week or two, go back and compare that with that report and see, are we capturing that in a way that you expected, or is there some unexpected behavior happening there?
Okay.
And that can be dictated by how it's set up in Unify automation as well. We can automatically disconnect and remove that association. Imagine if you had, like one of my partners, he supports ski resorts. They staff up massively in the fall, but every spring he wants it to automatically unmap because all those kids have gone back to being whatever his ski bums do, in the summer. So he's got a lot of a high churn in his population, and he wants to make sure that association is disconnected and clear and empty for the next year. So there's a lot of different complexity in how quickly we put things on, take things off, or what sort of criteria you use. I would play with that, run that what if, see if it's doing what you expected it to do. And once you sort of reach the balance that works for you guys, then fire and forget, walk away. Excellent, excellent, excellent.
Just FYI, Anthony, I was experimenting and looking at the data a little bit. If anybody here that was interested in kind of keeping an eye out for that Intune exploit, then you might want to set up something like this. Especially, this could be loud if you're normally expecting this, but if you're not, then this, if none of your organizations you support typically enroll their own Intune devices, you could set up a monitor, and this should take care of it.
Excellent, excellent.
Hey,
Enrique.
Hey, Enrique. There's a particular user agent that they use in the code, but I don't want to add that there because it's also really easy to change and recompile. So I don't want you to
You wouldn't want
give
to
you
hang
a
your hat
false
on that.
sense. Yeah.
And Enrique, did you use the AI to catch up on all the stuff you missed? I've never used it in Zoom.
I have not. Good morning, everyone. I don't know why I was late. I saw the alert, but then I said they're probably not having it. And I turned on 30 minutes later. I'm like, oh shit, I did not check it out. Quick question, Ben, on this rule in managed an MSA, do you all turn it on automatically for anybody that has either business premium or Intune licensing?
Oh, we don't. There's no automatic with our system. Everything is manual, so it would
Well, I
have to be
mean
a
automatic like
discussion.
you guys doing it.
Yeah, we would have to have a discussion to see if this is normal or not, because this by itself can be very loud for people that do use that.
Okay.
So it's I would prefer to find something a little bit more definite, but because if I turn this on, and it would be a matter of talking to the client and saying, hey, do you use this? And I don't know if there's a super easy way of doing that quite yet.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've done it. I did a search for the user agent as well that was using it. I didn't find anything in our systems. So unless someone's changing it, which I guess it's possible, I don't see too much of it being used here. But also it can be used with Unify too, which is kind of cool. I don't know if I do see that we pick up device information about it, so that's kind of neat.
Very cool.
So that might be a possibility. We're still evaluating. It's still very new. Like I said, it's days old. So
Well, I love that you're that on top of it. That's fantastic, Ben.
just want a quicker way to push out a rule to all of our clients. But we'll get there. That's my own personal request.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Let's have a more accurate or more dynamic curated list, other
There
than
you
go look
go.
on Discord and copy off what screen grabs you see there.
No, right. I think there'll be a lot of improvements here in the next quarter or two.
I don't see us slowing down, and some of that integration stuff they're doing in the back end is going to be a lot of fun. Um, uh, by the way, Jason, thank you for that great opening couple of questions. That was a great exploration. Anybody else have any questions about the platform? Anything specific, where we're headed? How can we help you all out today? It's your last chance this year. That's all I'm going to say.
We're not asking that question anymore this year.
Nope, that's it. Yeah, you got 23 minutes and I'm done.
No more questions for this year.
That's funny.
Well, I can ask another question if no one else will.
Jason?
We have some clients that are in fact using Ignite, which I noticed you put in the list of applications earlier on the screen.
Absolutely.
I have not seen that as an application on my portal.
It is correct. For anyone who is interested, if you are hear rumor and innuendo that we're working on something new and you would like to be part of the beta test of that, reach out to your account manager and say, hey, I would like to have the beta of Ignite exposed to my platform. Um, Support will expose to you a super secret hidden knowledge base article on how to set that up, and you can take it for a test drive. Um, Keeping in mind that if you're beta testing a beta application, we don't provide a lot of support on that because we're still figuring it out ourselves. And Jason or anybody else who's new to the environment, when we look at an application to see what its API presents, we first look for syslog data, people logging in, logging out, touching files, that sort of thing. And then we look at what else the APIs present. And some APIs, IT Glue is a great example, are quite robust. And some APIs, Duo, for example, are not as robust. So it's not going to be a uniform experience from application to application. Now, we don't really expose in the platform an easy place to see what's coming. But if you go to settings and go to the customize alert severity, there's an application pull down where you can see every application that's available. Some that are not, that none of them are labeled as being in beta or not. That's a bug we're working on fixing. But everything that is available is there. So for somebody like Jason says, hey, I've got folks in the AEC stack that use this file sharing app called Ignite. I would love to see what I can get out of that. Reach out to your account manager, or if you're still in the sales cycle, reach out to those guys.
Oh, okay. I like that little trick on the available apps.
Yeah. Yeah, we've asked to have some of those sort of more clearly labeled as being in beta because it's not abundantly clear. But it's a GUI change. We'll fix that. Anybody have any questions about line of business apps or anything that they would want to see on the platform? Anything with the pie in the sky wishes? Not a lot going on today.
Well, I see that now that you're a partner with Kaseya, right?
They are.
Would it make sense to include things like Autotask and some of the other MSP tools that are provided by them?
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that SaaS Alerts has always excelled at is we started with, for background purposes, the first thing we started to monitor was Microsoft, big gorilla in the room. Second application on the platform was IT Glue. It's keys to every kingdom. You need to know who's promoting their buddy to an admin, who's dumping out the run books, whatever it is. And it helped that IT Glue many years ago not only had a decent API, but they were open to the idea of enriching that API with things that their client base, the MSPs, would need. So they've been a great partner at enriching that. And now we're all one big kumbaya family. So you're right, Jason. And my goal is I want to monitor every MSP application, period, full stop. We just haven't found so many that have APIs that are open, or APIs that are open in a way that, again, gives you syslog data. So that's a work in progress. We appreciate the feedback. We've got an upvote board where we add notes like that. Hey, anybody would like this compliance or that application or that kind of a report? We love that kind of feedback. As a matter of fact, anybody who has joined us on what's called the NOLT board, NOLT, if you need access to that and you want to see what the roadmap looks like, reach out to your account manager. Um, Anybody who has seen that, there's been a recent request for different compliance sort of templates in Fortify. Oh, show me what a template that might get me to OSHA or in NIST or for our anapodal folks like the Essential 8. Go upvote the ones that you think would be important there. Because our dev team has only so many hours in a 24-hour day, and they need to know where to put their resources. So we'd love some feedback from you guys, all 6 of you, and anybody who watches this on repeat on YouTube. So,
True.
Gentlemen, anything else top of mind in the next 15, 18 minutes we've got here? Then I will say this. I want to thank everyone, even the newest partner, for helping us get to where we are today. We've tried to build a product that you would find useful, maybe a little fun at times, and would help you grow your business and grow your bottom line. And we don't get there without folks like you who are early adopters who show up even sometimes a half an hour late and help us move forward on this stuff. So thank you for your input. It's really appreciated. We've got a lot of fun stuff on deck for the next year. Join us on our Thursday meeting where I think some of the guys are going to talk about that as well. Um, Ben, Logan, Sap, any closing thoughts on this very busy year? Or Enrique?
I'm just stretching.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
muted,
I'm
brother.
looking forward to next year.
As am I. As am I. Mr. Sap,
Anthony, next year I'm going to be full of ideas.
you were full of something this year, so that tracks.
Well, that's actually a short deadline, Enrique. I mean, next year's tomorrow, so you got what is it, 12 hours here to forward those ideas to us. So we'll
Well,
be waiting on that.
I finally decided to get busy and close this year really strong. So um,
Excellent.
Better
I'm,
I
late
I'm
have
than
glad to
enough
see
of
never.
you
hours of work.
prioritize that. Yeah.
Yes.
Daniel, do you have anything that was on your brain? No, we're still not hearing you, man. I think that wireless headphone's broken.
I had new headphones today
Yeah,
as
everybody's having
well.
headphones issues. Well,
Yeah.
I think we've heard everything we wanted to hear from our sales team.
But let me, I guess, close out here and say, I've been part of the SaaS Alerts team for a few months now, and then recently been part of the journey with the new acquisition to Kaseya. I'm really excited about what's the next step for us. I think there's a lot of exciting new integrations coming out. There's going to be synchronization with a huge suite of tools here. I'm really looking forward to where next year's taking us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jason, did you have something on your brain?
Yeah, one last request,
Please.
and that is I've noticed in the past that you've done at least a few times a cool rules challenge, which looks like you brought in partners to
Yep.
and voted on that. Love to see more of that again.
Excellent. Yeah. We did do that. We did that 2 years in a row. Excuse me. I got a little something around. We did that a couple of years in a row and gave out fabulous, fabulous prizes for other ideas. And so we've had some great feedback on that. And I know that before the acquisition sort of started falling in line, that we had planned to do it again this spring. But that's a great question, Jason. Gentlemen, let's go have a chat with marketing and find out if we can do that again.
Thank you.
Because yeah, it's you guys continue to surprise me with MSPs continue to surprise me with the creative uses that you guys come up with on our platform, just doing things that I would never have imagined, but you guys are finding value in it, and it's new partners and old partners, all kinds of great ideas. So that's a very good thought, Jason. Thanks for bubbling that back up.
Hey, Jason, you have access to our Discord server, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You should see a bunch of rule discussion too if you guys are looking for additional ideas. Definitely hit that up. There's a bunch of good ones in there.
Mhm.
If anybody's on our Discord that looks really spare and boring, it's because you may be seeing only the public-facing version. Once you're promoted to a partner, when we identify you, then you'll see a whole bunch more. So if you don't see that, reach out to your account manager and say, I swear, I'm not a drive-by. I really am a partner.
Yeah. And Ben, I really appreciate all the getting techie with SaaS alerts videos. That's really helped me understand the rules or that I've been working on creating and adding those rules into my system.
Very cool. I think Logan's also going to do some videos too, but yeah, I appreciate that.
And Logan are the kind of guys that I'm very glad wear white hats and are on our side. They're a lot smarter than me and a lot more creative.
I don't like going
Gentlemen,
to prison, so that's
Yeah.
that.
guys, all the best in the new year. It was a hell of a year, and as everybody here sort of said, it's this roller coaster is not slowing down. It's going to be a fun one. Y'all be safe, be well, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you for all the help, guys. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.